Hello, Professor and classmates. This is Dale Lewis here, and this is my midterm visualization presentation. For this presentation, I was going through a bunch of ideas, trying to figure out what I wanted to present. I decided that I wanted to do something that was current, something that's pretty relevant, something that we all can relate to. So I was going through, a bunch of websites trying to come up with something, and finally I was watching an episode of 60 Minutes a few weeks ago, and on the show they had a story about um, anti flood measures that were being taken on in the Netherlands. Different projects that they had worked on to combat flooding in that country. The country being under sea level, they're constantly under the threat of flooding. So they took on initiatives to basically keep floodwaters out. So I was thinking, okay, I want to do something pertaining to that. So I decided that I was going to focus on uh, the amount of money that we spent here on hurricane-related recovery. I wanted to do like an analysis of the money that we spend year over year. Um, the issue I had there was that most of that information pertaining to those finances, it was hard to come by because I was dealing with multiple layers of um, government and different other agencies, and financial figures were not available for me to grab. It was not just like, okay, FEMA figures or something like that. It was like federal funds, then you had state funds, then you had like your local municipalities, then you had like insurance companies to think about, then you had aid agencies to consider also. So it was difficult to get ballpark figures there, and even with that, to do an analysis, it was not really going to work just because um, you don't have precise figures, and I figured if I'm going to do something like that, I wanted to have the most precise figures available, and I didn't want to work with ballparks. So I canned that idea, and I decided to basically do a comparison between global temperatures and the occurrence of hurricanes in the Atlantic zone. So this is basically what my visualization came out to. This is what the final result basically looked like. So I focused on 50 years of data from um, 1968 up until 2017 is what was what I focused on. And starting in the bottom here is where we have our data for 1968 going all the way up to 2017. What you may notice is that there are not a whole lot of labels and headers on this visualization. I took away a lot of that because I wanted to be an interactive piece. I wanted, you know, I wanted to strip away that so that any user can just, go to it to basically interact with the piece. To me, it's a better interface that way. Um, so what we have is basically a butterfly chart, and it compares this side basically shows your your the amount of hurricanes that occurred over a particular year. So as you point to uh, each occurrence, it would give you the year, the average temperature of that year, and the amount of hurricanes that occurred. And when you come to the right side is basically your temperatures. Um, it does not it did not come out the way I basically imagine it, just because on your right side with your temperatures here, um, the fluctuations are minute. They're incremental, and so you don't have. If you look at the tip here, you don't have a whole lot of the changes are not that noticeable. So the butterfly effect, it kind of it takes on a different dynamic, I guess. But I liked the idea of the side by side bar charts, because it gives you a good comparison of the data. That's why I decided to go this route. Um, I was able to grab for the piece. I was able to grab some really good information from two main sources. Storm Facts. They give me some really good numbers on hurricane occurrences in the Atlantic region, and I was able to do quite a bit with that. Also, NOAA, which is the government's subject matter expert, basically for everything pertaining to weather. They were I got all my temperatures from them, the fluctuations and everything um, from 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 NOAA. So that was the second main source where I got my stuff. But yeah, so basically uh, the data showed that as temperature steadily increased over the 50-year period, and we saw a general increase of 1.4 1.4 degrees overall. We started off at for the period we started off at 57.110, and up to 2017 we had 58.510. So over the 50-year period, we had an increase of 1.4 degrees. And as you can see, um, as those degrees increase, we find that the peaks here definitely increase. We had more hurricanes occurring over the period of time as the increase went on. So basically, the conclusion here for me was that as the global average temperature increased, so did the occurrence of hurricanes um, in the Atlantic in the Atlantic region and in the Atlantic zone. So I basically thought that it was relevant, just because we had so much you know hurricanes in the news recently, so many occurrences recently. It was a pretty busy year for us up and down the East Coast. So I figured it was pretty relevant, and that's why I decided to run with this one. Um, I liked the way it came out, just because this is what I wanted in the sense that I wanted something that was clean, and something that was not anchored down by a bunch of labels everywhere. I wanted something that was truly interactive, and I think I accomplished that for the most part. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I certainly did. So please feel free to let me know what you think. And thank you.